With farming being a very popular method and also a very good method in Hypixel Skyblock, I feel like it's very necessary for me to make some sort of video about what setups you should get for early, mid, and late game. I feel like it's very necessary to say that there's not really a setup you should get for early game because you're just not going to make much money, and there's a lot more efficient money methods than just farming for early game. Also consider that you're probably going to have to spend a lot of money on some of these farms for mid and late game, depending on, how much you're wanting to put into it. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get started. Even though I said that, you probably shouldn't farm early game, I'm still going to go over some setups you can use, just in case if you don't know, like, what other money method you can use besides farming. With early game, you don't have much money, so I would say just build some sort of, like, small sugarcane farm, and then get a diamond hoe with harvesting 5 on it, and then you should, like, technically be good with that, because you probably can't afford much besides that, because you probably just started like a couple weeks ago. I also think that if you're early game, you should just probably bazaar flip, because you're just gonna make so much more money than farming, because like the more money you put into a farming setup, the more money you're gonna make. With early game out of the way, let's go into mid game. Mid game is definitely when you have a lot more money to put into a farm, so I feel like you can definitely make a lot more money. With mid game, you probably want a builder's wand and a netherwort pouch to make a netherwort farm. And you also would probably want the builder's wand to make a sugarcane farm. The items that you would probably want with that are a de-upgraded version of what I have here. So I would look at them for like 1.5 mil depending on the counter and all that. So it shouldn't be too much if you're mid-game. You also would want a sugarcane hoe. And if you're like, mid, late-ish game, you probably can buy a pet. Either a rabbit pet that's at least blue rarity, or a legendary pet, which is a lot more expensive than a rabbit pet. But if you can't afford those, it's cool. It's completely fine. It's just gonna, reduce some money that you could have made. Now, the reason why you want a netherwort farm is because you want that's like the farm you're gonna use for money. And the reason why you want a sugarcane farm is because you want XP and then also money. You do make more XP off of a pumpkin farm, but you make nowhere near as much money as a sugarcane farm. Now, going into late game, you probably just want to upgrade some of the items and getting a higher level rabbit or a higher level elephant. You also want a higher level farming level, because it gives you farming fortune, and that's going to buff how much money you make by a lot. Now, if you do get a max farm, you're gonna make around 8 mil, which is a lot more if you like didn't have a max one, and it's also a lot of money like per hour. Because off of this method, you can easily get a Hyperion if you just put some hours into it. But with late game, you can also just build more farms, so you can harvest more than just one full farm. Right now, my farms, I only have 2 and a sugarcane farm, as you can see. You can also make if you like change your sugarcane farm up a bit, you can make it so you put a lot less effort, which is actually, a huge thing into farming, because it's just boring, and you probably don't want to put a lot of effort into it. With all of that, going over early, mid, and late game, I feel like that's all I have for that. There's probably a few items that I probably forgot about, but I feel like that's definitely the basics that you'll need for a farm for early, mid, or late game. Please consider subscribing and liking. It really shows support. But besides that, I'll see you guys later. Peace.